he's not a world-class fighter. He just had a world championship belt. He's not a world-class fighter. He can't beat Beterbiev. He can't beat Bivol. He couldn't beat Ramirez. He just hadn't run into any of them.
I'm just saying, man. It's nonsense.
You like Beterbiev because he looks like Abe Lincoln and he knocks people out like Abe Lincoln, the vampire hunter. You can admit it.
I do call him Buff Abe Lincoln for a reason. Yes.
Dude.
Moving on to number 5. Last time out, this was the cat, Oleksandr Usyk. But we do have a number 5, and we just spent a lot of time talking about him. It is Dmitry Bivol, 21-0 with 11 knockouts. And he is a unified champion at 175 at light heavyweight. He went out.
Sorry, go continue.
You just told me time out so you could say continue.
Sorry.
What
sorry,
the hell?
I was about to say something, and then I realized.
Get off your chest, man. Get off your chest.
No, okay. So if he's on this list, if the other dude is on this list,
the other dude who has a far worse resume.
Well, the other dude has 3 of the 4 belts and has 19 by 19 knockouts.
I think
you talking about Beterbiev?
Yeah.
Listen, man. Look, belts factor in somewhat. Resume matters too. And who is he beating?
Anthony Yardy, Joe Smith Jr. Anthony Yardy. Sorry, I keep saying Yardy. It's the
you don't even know
he throws
name.
me off.
You don't even know his name.
No, I know him. I just I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Sorry,
continue.
Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and edit that out. But Dmitry Bivol is I'm mistaken, not the unified champion. That is Beterbiev. I had him mixed up there. But he, obviously had the win over Canelo, who was previously a number 1 pound for pound fighter. He came back and also got the win over Gilberto Ramirez, Zurdo, who was undefeated, made him look rather silly throughout that whole fight. So yeah, I think he's well deserving of being in that number 5 spot. If he comes back and beats Canelo again, you're really solidifying your spot there. But yeah, we would all like to see him fight Beterbiev. Not sure if or when that's going to happen at this point. I mean, Beterbiev is 38 years old, and apparently, he doesn't fight a whole lot. He's got 19 fights.
Yeah.
So, and who knows how many are left.
Dmitry has 21.
I know. They're both older. They don't fight a lot, and we know that Bivol, or at least the plan is that he's going to fight Canelo next. Right?
Is that the plan? Because the last I heard was he wanted Beterbiev. He said he didn't really care about the money from the Canelo fight. He's looking to be great, right? He wants to get those belts.
Do it, better. Do it, Bivol. Do it.
So, but listen, those are the 2 fights, right? It's Canelo and Beterbiev. He wins those 2 fights. He's up there near the top, right? He because Beterbiev is held in high regard by a lot of people. A lot of people have Beterbiev on their pound for pound list, right? Mm-hmm. Canelo's obviously on the pound for pound list, and he beat him once, you beat him twice, and you beat another person like that. That holds a lot of weight. So yeah, but I mean, I think last time I had Bivol ranked higher on Canelo's than Canelo on my list, because look, you beat the man, you jump ahead of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think coming back and beating Zurdo Ramirez, who's also undefeated, who's also a really good fighter, the way he handled him in that fight, that shot him up my list as well. What you got?
I'm not saying Dmitry Bivol is not a good boxer.
Okay,
I'm a big fan of him. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying I'm a big fan. But like, Where's the other guy, man? That man is not,
he's,
and you know, and
6
also,
years older with 2
You can say his name. Beterbiev. You say
Artur Beterbiev, man. Like, come on. Like, I know he turned pro at 28, so he's only been boxing for 10 years, and he's 38 now. I get it. And you know, man, they need, to clear my conscience, they need to fight. I'm sorry, they need to fight.
Where would you rank Beterbiev, or where did you rank Beterbiev?
Where? Okay, hold on, let me bring it up. I ranked him.
You had him above Bivol?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Based off of what?
Based off,
notes.
Notes. I watched this. Wait, what?
No, belts.
Belts? Did I just rank him off of belts?
Yeah.
No. I also watched the Joe Smith and Anthony Yard fight. In the Anthony Yard fight, Yard got him. He caught him. He caught him good. And he had a couple of rounds where it's like,
not a good thing.
I know, but then it showed champions resolve.
Who's more
champions resolve?
What's the more impressive wins? Smith and Yard or Canelo and Zurdo?
I didn't watch the Zurdo fight, so I'm
but you know the answer to it.
But you know he won.
Yeah, I know he won, but
Zurdo's better than those other two fighters.
Well, that's a matter of perspective. Joe Smith Jr. had a belt.
All right.
So does what is his name? Ryder? I can't even remember the dude's name.
His was the interim belt. Joe Smith had the proper belt.
He still has the belt though, right?
No, but that's interim. Those don't count.
It doesn't matter if it's interim or not. It's still a belt.
Okay, now we're counting Gervonta Davis's regular championship now? Is that what we're doing now? Is that
everybody counts regular championships?
We shouldn't. We should stop doing that.
People pick up belts wherever they pick them up. Devin Haney got emailed one of his belts. Listen,
man,
what we're talking about is one of these guys,
a real belt, not a that wasn't a TV title.
Joe Smith had a real belt.
Joe Smith had a real belt because Joe Smith is a mechanic from Mechanicsville, PA, and he beat all the people in his local county, and it's a great story and blah blah blah. Listen, what do you mean the disrespect? Beterbiev ran through him like he was fighting.
Beterbiev is way better than him, of course.
5-year-old nephew or something. That was a garbage fight. He's not a world-class fighter. He just had a world championship belt. He's not a world-class fighter. He can't beat Beterbiev. He can't beat Bivol. He couldn't beat Ramirez. He just hadn't run into any of them.
I'm just saying, man. It's nonsense.
You like Beterbiev because he looks like Abe Lincoln and he knocks people out like Abe Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter. You can admit it.
I do call him Buff Abe Lincoln for a reason. Yes.
What you got, Mikey?
Man, Bivol was 3 on my list. I just think that he's been impressive. I think what he did to Canelo. I think he washed Canelo. The scorecards say otherwise, unfortunately.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I mean,
was it one of them a draw or something?
I think 115, 113.
Yeah, it's like, so it's I think that gets lost in the talk of Bivol and Canelo, is that like he didn't just win, like he beat, like he dominated that fight, in my opinion. So I think that's impressive because again, like you almost kind of the props that I gave Haney going to Australia to beat Kambosos, like you almost had to have a perfect night, as we could see on the scorecards of that Bivol Canelo fight.
Cards, like 115, 113.
Yeah, like he so one round, if he took off one round, like that would have swung that whole fight, unfortunately, according to the scorecard. So that was impressive to then follow it up and fight Ramirez. So Bivol is doing his thing right now. So I like him here on this list. I know I think that fight better be whatever y'all. I always struggle saying anything, but I think that fight does need to happen. But he shows a little more. I've seen him get put down. So I'm cautious on giving him pound for pound hype right now. To be honest, it reminds me of the run that it reminds me of the run that Lomachenko had, even though he wasn't fighting and they still kept him on the list. Not to say that he didn't deserve to be there at one point in time, but it's kind of like, I feel like they're kind of forcing this guy there. But don't get me wrong, he does hold 3 straps, and that says something. But the Bivol, he and Bivol got to get that on, and I think if he can pull that off, I think he'll skyrocket up the list for sure.
Also, too, when I said he got stung, Yardy hit him, but like a minute later, he pinned Yardy in the corner and just took Yardy to Yard. I keep calling him Yardy. Sorry, Yard, because it's the E, man. Jose, you're muted.
You're still muted.
Muted?
No, I'm saying I do the same thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So like he pinned Yard in the corner and just ripped his body, clipped him a couple shots to the head, and then the next round, Yard got one on him, and he's like, I got him. And then again, Beterbiev pinned him in the corner and just took him to school. And then at the end, it was gonna be bad for Yard, and then his corner was like, "No, we're done. You're done. You're done. We're not gonna have you get dropped like Joe Smith Jr." Barney, I don't, one, I do like him because he looks like Abe Lincoln. That's true, because that's the funny thing. But I do think he's a very crisp boxer. His shots are they're very tight. There's no looping. There's no looping. It's straightforward. It's just destruction. I think he could, beat.
Absolutely. I think Bivol will knock him out. I really do. Because I think that, while you are correct, I think that Bivol is a fantastic defensive fighter, and I don't think he'll be able to land consistently on Bivol. And Bivol is a very disciplined fighter, and I think that he would just catch him consistently over the course of the fight, and I think he'd put him away late.
I think it's going to be a great fight if they fight. I think it's going to be a great fight.
Yes.
Yeah. And if Dmitry beats him, Dimitri's better than. That's the way it is.
Breaking news, Ring Kings breaking news. According to Mike Coppinger, Canelo and John Ryder is reportedly now being finalized for May 6th. And it's claimed the fight is expected to be a homecoming defense for Canelo. So they'll be fighting in Jalisco, Mexico.
Jalisco.
Okay.
Yay.
Hey, there it is.
That's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with fighters doing stuff like that. Like, it's the same thing that Tyson Fury did with Chisora, for his retirement fight, and it was just a big spectacle, so everybody at home could celebrate Tyson Fury. I don't have a problem with that. It's just, fight Bivol in September, or whatever month it is you're planning on it. You make sure you have the next fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed. All right, what's next?
What's next? Next is number 4 on the list. Previously occupied by Canelo, is now the home of Oleksandr Usyk. 20-0 with 13 knockouts, having dominated the cruiserweight division. He moved up and fought the top guy in the heavyweight division, in Anthony Joshua, beat him twice, and is now looking for that fight with Tyson Fury. I thought that he put on 2 masterful performances against Anthony Joshua. I thought he looked fantastic. The only question mark with him going up against Fury is Fury's size, whether he'll be able to withstand Fury's power and kind of keep Fury off of him, for the 12 rounds. But I don't think there's any question at all who is the more skilled fighter between the two, and it's Usyk.
Yeah. You want to start this one, Mikey?
This is the one I have to admit. I said early in the show, I made a mistake rushing through my list, and I did not have him on my list. And slapped me on the hand, punched me in the face, because that is wrong. He should be on the list, and I'm not upset with him being in this spot. But it's again, you look at Fury, and then you look at Usyk, right? Usyk at least has Joshua on his resume twice, and he doesn't seem to be afraid of any smoke. He wants this Fury fight, and he even wants, he'll take Wilder. So I think that's one thing I respect about him. He wants to jump to those fights. I think he realizes, like, man, he's a little older fighter. I think he realizes, like, look, I'm getting to the end of this run, so I'll take on, the big names before I get out of here. But I think it's the only thing that we need to see is him and Fury. So they need to make that happen. But I'm okay with him being in this spot. for sure. To your point earlier, Ferris, you know, he just doesn't he lacks the personality of a Tyson Fury. So which, you know, he it's hard to put him to headline a fight just from that.
Yeah, man.
But as you said, B, skill wise, and what he's done in that division as a smaller heavyweight, right? It's impressive. You know, I think he whipped up, and I think he whipped on Anthony Joshua, who is, you know, the all prototype fighter. If you can build him on Undisputed, the game, shout out to Undisputed. We need, you know, send us some copies, or, you know,
well done.
Holla at us.
We'll just update the game.
You can he'd be what you build, right? So and he went in there as a smaller fighter and did his thing. So Usyk is here, slapped me on the hand because I made a mistake and left him off my.
Wait, you said this is number 4, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I got a little nervous. You said 3. I'm like, somebody's off this list here. Okay. All right. Ferris, what you got?
I'm a big fan of Alexander Usyk. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, Fury's gonna wash him because of the height difference." I'm like, you know, boxing also consists of hitting people in the body, right? And you can hit people in the body and take them out that way. You don't have to completely destroy someone's head to win a boxing fight. That's how I know people are stupid. Like there's other aspects of boxing that you can win a fight. You know, people have been knocked out by being punched in the liver, in the solar plex. You can drop someone that way. And you're talking about a man who's I'm not saying the most technical boxer, one of the best technical boxer in the heavyweight division, because he was a cruiserweight. So also too, he's also much faster than the heavyweights because he's moving up from cruiserweight. So like, I think he can beat Tyson Fury. And you know, people act like he was the same height as Anthony Joshua or the same size as Anthony. No, he wasn't. Joshua was clearly the bigger fighter. And he beat him both times. He beat Dylan White, and I think he did beat Derek Chisora as well. Let me check.
Yeah.
You know, he beat Derek Chisora, not Dylan White. He beat Chisora
and
as his introduction.
A couple other heavyweights as well. Okay. I forget who now.
Tony Bellew and Chaz Witherspoon.
Bellew.
Yeah. And Chaz Witherspoon. So like no. Just Chaz. Tony Bellew was the cruiserweight titles. So Chaz, Chisora, and 2 Joshua fights. So like he can, you know, the sweet science is what it's called. Finding a strategy to beat your opponent, you know, and I think he can do that because Fury's going to try to knock him out, and then you just kind of use Fury's own all that jazz. And I think 4 is pretty good, you know. I like Alexander Usyk at 4. Yeah, well, I can agree with this. I got this. Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I think he's the best heavyweight in that division. Like we said, dominated the cruiserweight division and then came up to heavyweight, which I didn't think he would be able to handle. But I mean, his boxing skills just, you know, just showed out. And that the Joshua fights, I really put that up there. It's up there for me because, okay, the first fight, we could say maybe Joshua slept on him a little bit, right? I mean, it turned out to be a great fight. But Joshua came in that second fight, and like I told B, he looked even better than the first fight. He worked out some things. Joshua looked good. Joshua looked really good, but Usyk just looked better. And Usyk said it after the first fight. He said, "You haven't seen the best of me," and he was right. And there were times in that second fight where he did get hurt, right? And I can't remember which round it was. It was later on. It was later in the fight, and he was getting rocked. And I thought, oh man, Usyk might be getting put away.
It was the 10th, I believe it was, where he looked like he was in real trouble.
And he came out of that 11th round, and he put it on Joshua, right? Like he didn't try to run around the ring or anything like that, or try to survive. He said, "I'm taking it right to him," and that shows you the kind of heart that he has and recovery that he has, and just his skill. And I just don't think. I don't think Fury has anything for him personally, right? So if they make that fight happen and he beats Fury, he's definitely going further up the list in a lot of people's eyes.
So now we are at the top 3. I'm very disappointed in the assembled group here at who ended up at number 3. Previously, it was Naoya Inoue, the monster, who came in at number 3 on our last list. But this time,
Does he not on the list?
and this time,
Okay.
it's Terence Bud Crawford.
Where he belongs.
I had him a little lower because of the entire BLK Prime, we in the building, baby debacle. Nobody wanted that fight. You know, you were in negotiations with Errol Spence, in bad faith negotiations with Errol Spence. Obviously, as you pulled out, you already had another fight set up.
Black Prime, baby, we in the building.
Complete nonsense. Now, that's just a perception thing. Skill-wise, he absolutely belongs in the top 3. Again, a fantastic fighter who's been he's dominated pretty much everyone he's been in the ring with. You know, I thought Sean Porter gave him some trouble. And Sean Porter could have won the fight if Sean Porter wasn't born with Sean Porter length arms. But outside of that, you know,
or his father.
Yeah. It's a whole other topic. But outside of that, you know, Terence is obviously one of the best fighters on the planet. He's coming in right now 39-0 with 30 knockouts. Always credited as one of the best finishers in the sport. But again, at this point, it's go fight Errol Spence, go fight Keith Thurman, go fight, you know, even Gerard Ennis, go fight somebody who matters.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I knocked him down a little bit. I wasn't going to knock him down too far. I still think he's an excellent fighter. Like B said, he has all the skill in the world. But you had a chance to be number 1, and you messed it up. I know a lot of Bud Crawford fans are gonna come out here and say, no, it's on, you know, it's on Spence, whatever. Listen, man, he walked away, and the fight that he took was not a fight that's going to boost his case to be pound for pound anything, right? That doesn't help his resume. You're at the point in your career where those fights aren't going to do anything for you, right? You have Spence, who wants to take nothing but big fights, and Crawford. I understand the whole want to get paid. Everybody understands that, but in terms of where you're ranking on our list and how people, you know, carry how they hold you, and you know, in terms of where you rank, David Avenesian doesn't do anything, and we don't even know what's next. I mean, it looks like he's flirting with signing with Golden Boy Promotions. The fights that they're talking about lining up for him. Yeah, the fights that they're talking about lining up for him, that's not anything we want to see either. So I mean, that's not doing anything for your career. And you know, Errol Spence, you could think that he could beat Errol Spence, but Errol Spence has the better resume, right? And Errol Spence is going on to fight Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman
in 4 years? In 4 years?
No, I mean
that's already been a couple since.
Okay, gotcha. All right, sorry. Yeah,
we're all good on the timing.
Okay,
but cool. Keith Thurman is a better fighter than anybody Bud Crawford has faced.
Absolutely.
Right. And then who else? You know, who knows what he's going to do? I mean, they're talking about him moving up, and if he moves up, you know, he fights Charlo, or if Charlo moves up, and then you know Spence takes the belts in those divisions. This is going to add to his resume. And I just don't know what's next for Bud Crawford, but he needs to do something to get us back talking about him.
Oh wait, no, it's only been a year.
Oh no, so 2 more years. Damn.
2 years for what?
It's only been a year since Keith Thurman's last fight.
Yeah, so
might be a while.
Yeah, he fought Barrios.
Yeah,
so
dominated Barrios.
Yeah, he did.
So we'll see Keith Thurman in 2024. Got it.
Errol's gonna make that happen.
Yeah, Errol's gonna make him. Like you're getting in his.
Actually, Errol's the one that kind of pushes back a little bit. Well, the person that ran over Errol Spence.
Oh yeah.
They didn't run him over.
You know what? Errol, just like walk everywhere from now on. Stop getting cars.
Ride a bike.
Yeah, stop getting near cars. Stop being in cars. Stay away from cars.
Well, if you have 2 incidents like that, you're like, there's no way there's going to be a third. It's like if you're in a plane crash, you're like, I'm good for the rest of my life. I'm not going to be in another plane crash.
It's like it's like the guy who got struck by lightning 3 times. It already happened once. What's going to happen? It's not going to happen again.
Yeah, he need to ride a horse or something for now.
He is in Texas.
Yeah, he owns a farm too. He does it. He owns a farm. So start riding your horses to the store.
So, as the resident Bud Crawford fan here, I'm extremely disappointed in him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm disappointed. Like, bro, like you literally you don't like. Unfortunately, you don't have power here in the like negotiation thing. I'm sorry, you have one belt. You're coming off of a divorce with a man people don't like doing business with. So people are not gonna coming doing a negotiation. Like, unfortunately, you're gonna have to sacrifice some on the A side to get the fight. You're gonna have to sacrifice it because he is the A side. 3 belts. He has a better resume than you. He's actually more liked than you because you're kind of coming off of I'm not gonna disparage the guy, but you're not like, perception wise in the media and in fans, people think they can kick your ass. Like Jose said earlier, people think they can kick your ass. And so you got to give him the 55. You take the 45 for the first fight.
Yeah.
And Ferris is out.
And if he gets 45.
You froze for a second, Ferris.
My bad. All right. How about now? Am I good?
Yeah, good. You're good.
All right. So like you have to give him the 55. You take the 45. And then if you do beat him, then you flip it on him. Like, no, I take the 50. But in the moment, you ain't got no bearings to stand on, dog. It's now I'm starting to think it's your fault this fight's never happened. And it is kind of his fault this fight's not happening. And I found out when I was watching the Art of Better Be a fight, he's the 4th oldest champion in all of boxing. He's the 4th oldest champion. He's 40, he's 35. Like proper champions.
Yeah.
Better Be was 38. He's second. And he's like second to like someone else who's 35, but like older. Like you're the 4th oldest champion, bro. You don't have time to play games. You want to make money? Make the money and get the fight done.
There you go.
That's the craziest thing to me about Bud is like he's not doing the legacy fights, but he's also not getting paid.
That's what I'm saying.
It's wild.
I hope that Prime paid him all his money.
Yeah, man. Like you can talk a lot of smack about Ryan Garcia and him not fighting like proper, champion boxers. He gets paid. Anymore. He gets paid. He's getting paid at least. But now he's gonna get paid and he's gonna fight a proper champion. Yeah. Same thing with Davis. You may talk shit like, oh, he has no regular belt. He getting more money than you though.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
You ain't making money and you ain't getting no legacy, man. Like the hell are you doing? And Errol Spence is like, it's corny. It's corny over here not trying to fight. And people are like, yeah. I can't keep defending Bud anymore. I'm done defending him. Bro, like, give me what I want. Give me what I want.
I mean, even now, right? Because he's not. I mean, he's talking about, yeah, Spence. I'm ready. When you're ready to spin the block, I'll be waiting or whatever. But you're not. You're talking to Golden Boy, and they're talking about setting up his first fight with Alexis Rocha. Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that.
Like, no, man, no. You go if you go into Golden Boy or whoever. I don't even care about that part, man. Listen, we all know Bud Crawford. He's not as business savvy as he thought. It's fine, right? That's fine. If he decides, okay, hey, you know what? I can't go about this by myself. I don't want to work with Al Heyman. I want to work with Golden Boy. I don't care. Set the fight up. You tell him, look, I'll sign with you, but you gotta get me the Errol Spence fight, right? That's the fight I want, or big fight, right? And Alexis, it can't be Alexis Rocha. Right, like it needs to be a huge name. So I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what he wants. I don't know if he knows what he wants, but look, this is where he's at for right now, and I don't see it changing anytime soon.
But look, man, I like Bud, right? I think he's a top 3 pound for pound fighter. But everything y'all said is absolutely correct. He's 35 years old. There's one fight that we all want to see, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, right, it's not happening. And these cats are only getting older. You know what I mean? And it's he just has to make a decision on where he wants to go with his career. And if it's like you said, if it's signing with somebody, do it. But like, get out there, make some fights, and then like I said, decide what you're gonna do. If you're about making as much cash as you can, do it as you end your career. But just realize the effect that has and how people are looking at you. I think Bud is another one of those guys, kind of along the lines of Haney, where he took a rude awakening when he realized he's not as popular as he thought he was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not as much of a household name as his counterparts, even though he is one of the best. I think that's hard for a lot of these boxers that's a hard pill for them to swallow. So, but as y'all said, there's plenty of opportunity out here for him. And let's see some of these fights. I'm hoping 2023, right? I'm hoping that we'll see the finalized contract of Garcia and Tank, and that this will spearhead a lot of good fights, because there's plenty of opportunity for all of them. You know what I mean? Even if you can't get Spence, as you said, it's a lot of guys out there. Fight one of those dudes. Fight, you know what I mean? Let's move forward in that and make this a good year of boxing, like it has the opportunity to be.
Yeah, speaking of that, to the mic, to the being more famous than the other, like me, I like using kind of me as a barometer, because I'm not a casual, but I'm not y'all. I'm like in the middle, right? I found out
we're
who
casual.
You're okay. We're all casuals. I found out who Bud Crawford was in 2018 when he beat up Jose Benavidez Jr. in Nebraska. Then I found out who Errol Spence was the following year when he beat up Mikey Garcia. But since I found them out, it feels like Errol has been fighting like boxing, like they were appointment viewing. Every fight after that, it was always appointment viewing. With Bud Crawford, I didn't watch the Amir Khan fight because I was like, whatever. I didn't watch the one after Amir Khan with the guy whose name I cannot pronounce. Sorry to that guy. It was like after like the Heisman Trophy Award. I didn't watch that fight, so I'm like, whatever. And then he beat up Cal Brook. I watched that fight, but I'm like, yeah, he beat up Cal Brook. Man, you know what? Speaking of Cal Brook, you know what? I'm not going there. All right. Sorry, it's undisputed. And then when they were like, I'm fighting Sean Porter, and I was like, yes, because Sean Porter was coming off of the fight against Errol Spence. He gave Errol Spence hell. Spence did win. So I'm like, okay, good. I have someone who fought both of them so I can use as a barometer. They both beat up Sean Porter. They both beat him. Like, okay, cool. But then you fight David Avanasian. And Errol Spence fights Yordenis Ugas for combining of a title. And I'm like, bro, come on, man. Come on. Like, what are we doing here? He made Danny Garcia stop knowing how to box. Errol Spence did. And then the corner was like, punch him.
Yeah.
Throw something. It's like, okay. Didn't work.
All right. Now we're down to the top two.
Yes, down to the top two. This was the spot, previously occupied by Bud Crawford. He's down a spot for us this year. Well, not this year, but this time.
Yeah.
And in number two is the only fighter. I mean, I guess you count Gervonta doesn't technically have a belt, but this guy has no titles. Recently vacated all four of his titles. He was an undisputed champion at 118 pounds. Naoya the Monster Inoue. And he's 24-0 with 21 knockouts, 29 years old. The reason he vacated the four titles is because, like all boxing fans want their champions to do, he's moving up in search of bigger game. Right? He's going to 122 to try to become the undisputed champion at a higher weight class, looking to beat Stephen Fulton.
Cool boy Steph.
And I'm gonna attempt to pronounce this guy's name.
Don't do it, buddy. Don't do it.
Akhmadaliev.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna try his first name. I'm sorry.
Morajan.
Yeah,
Morajan.
So they each have two titles at 122. So Inoue has announced his intentions, and he said, "Leave your titles outside on the curb. I'll spin through, pick them up. Otherwise, it's not gonna go very well for you." Right. I know Mike has opinions on how that's going to go for Naoya, so go ahead, Mike.
Listen, I respect in a way. I respect the monster, but I've been saying for over a year, there's one guy who he don't want to smoke with, and that is Stephen Cool Boy Fulton, or Cool Boy Steph is what they call him. But listen, man, this guy is it's impressive. If you go back to us discussing him, whether it's on a pound for pound list or just a general conversation, I was kind of off of him. Like, yeah, it's cute, this little guy, but
This little guy
we're watching this guy, as
on a
small
random
as
Tuesday.
yeah, on a random. I was just about to say that on a random Tuesday, like, bro, this he's impressive. He's impressive, and to pack that punch that he does, I think it will translate. Sometimes these guys move up in weight, the power may not translate, but there's some things we have to see with any fighter that you keep an eye on when they move up in weight. But man, this guy is impressive. But I think Cool Boy Steph is slept on, and that is a fight that I spoke on that on one of our upcoming Ring Kings updates, breaking news, whatever we're gonna call it. Just look for that. But it's a fight that it has a potential to happen this year, and it's one of my top fights that I would love to see. So, but man, the monster is cool with me being here. So let's see what happens going forward. I love that he doesn't duck, and that's another thing, right? You get these guys who's at the top of the division, and you are typically the hunted, right? This guy, he's a hunter. He's like, like he had one fight left, and it was worked with Paul Butler, and it was hey, they'll make that happen. It wasn't no arguing of who a side, whatever. Look, let's make this happen. Let me do away with him, and then I'm going up. So I do respect that about him.
Yeah, and do away with him is the correct way to describe that. He won by knockout in the 11th round. All three cards up to that point had not Inoue winning 100-90. So he won every round on every card and then knocked him out in the 11th. So
he's not a human being, dude. He's built different. Monster, anyways, built different, bro. He was like, before I leave, I need your belt, Paul. He's like, come here and take it. I was like, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it, Paul. And he like took it and he was like, personally, I think if I was Monster, I would fight Stephen Fulton second. So I would fight the other dude first, and then the Stephen. Yeah, what? Akhmadaliev. I would fight him first, take his belts, and then you have the winner take all belt with Stephen Fulton.
Yeah.
I think that's the better money play here.
I think what should have happened is Cool Boy Steph should have fought Akhmadaliev to try
that should have also
to get the undisputed titles in that division. But Cool Boy Steph, he ain't got that dog in him like Monster does. Right?
Yeah, and Mike, that's true. What do you think about that? He could have got
that. Is not true. He doesn't duck anybody. His last 2 to 3 fights, he fought all champions. Cool Boy Boy won anyway now. He won him now.
Well, yeah. Well, he also when he beat Brandon Figueroa, it was a majority decision, not a unanimous decision. So,
well, look, and go back and watch those fights. Go back and watch his.
I shouldn't trust boxing decisions. What am I doing? I'll watch that.
Go back and watch that. I feel.
Who does he fight on, Mike?
Dominated.
Showtime.
Yeah, I think he's Showtime. Yeah.
Okay, I do have Showtime.
Listen, it'll be a good fight. No, but I do agree with you, Ferris, that'll probably be the biggest money play for them. Another thing about Inoue too, though, like for him, he's not crossover, right? Like the hardcores know who he is. He doesn't fight in America, so but if he does.
It's because he always fights on like a random Tuesday. Mike's like,
if he does, he'd be a he'd be a superstar. You know what I mean? I think, but I think he might have to consider that going forward. But it looks like, I mean, Fulton, he said he's willing to go over there. So we'll see what happens, man. But I'm just saying, watch that fight and don't sleep on Cool Boy Steph, okay?
Well, I mean, how could you? It's not like he's going to put you to sleep. He has 8 knockouts in his 21 wins. Thoughts, Mike?
He just beat you up. He just boxes you.
Okay.
Listen, Bivol doesn't have that many knockouts either.
He's got more than that, though.
He just beats you up. He's a student of the get the hit and don't get hit.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
he actually boxes.
That's one of the top fights for that's possible in boxing right now. Yeah. So hopefully that gets done.
Yeah. And look, and Cool Boy Steph isn't on this list, right? Spoiler alert, he didn't make number 1. But
that'd be so crazy if he was number 1.
But
we forgot Errol.
If he beats Inoue, he's gonna shoot way up this list.
Oh yes, he is. Yes, he is.
All the way to 7.
You know,
yeah.
But listen,
lucky
man,
number
listen,
7.
There's a lot of really good fighters that didn't make this list. You know, I mean, we talked about Artur Beterbiev, he's not on this list, right?
Shakur Stevens not on the list.
He fell off the list. He was on the list last time, I believe.
Yep.
He's that 9. 9 is kind of like 9 and 10.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some guys. It's 10 people, right? And Cool Boy Steph could absolutely be on this list. So like, if you're leaving a comment saying, "Hey, where's this person?" Hey, man, you know, just like I said, leave it in the comment. You know, we respect your opinion. But yeah, this is huge, man, and this is what we want to see. We want to see guys that we think are the top fighters make fights with other top fighters, and this is what we get on Deontay Wilder a lot about his lack of interest in developing a jab and other basic boxing skills. But at least the one thing we always respected about Wilder is
he'll fight anybody.
He sought out everybody, right? He didn't waste time with it. He's like, you got a belt, bring it over here, right? You the top, you want the top fighters, step into my ring, right? Like, he actively sought out those fights, and up until he ran to Fury in the second fight, he was winning all those fights, so you had to respect it, and this is what we want to see. The business side, is not the concern of the fans. Okay. It's the actual fight and how we view you, how we judge you, and you have to make those fights happen. And again, I want to keep harping on Bud Crawford, but that's just the reality of how his legacy is going to be. If the best fight he's ever had was Sean Porter, like, that's just not going to be enough for anybody to.
That's Errol Spence's like third best fight, Sean Porter. So like, that's what's crazy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be any shock who ended up in number 1 here.
Stephen Fulton Jr. wasn't it? It was Stephen Fulton Jr., wasn't it? It wasn't. I knew it.
and I don't know how, because Mike's the only one who even knows this guy. But no, obviously coming in at number 1, repeating at number 1. We gotta actually keep track of this. He's 2-time number 1 pound for pound.
That's right.
For us.
Yep, that's true.
And this time he actually widened the gap. Because it was Bud Crawford in second, Bud fell down, Inoue moved up. So it's actually even a wider margin in points that got Errol Spence the number 1 spot in our pound for pound rankings. He's 28-0, 22 knockouts. A guy, like we mentioned before, doesn't take tune-ups. He goes after top fight after top fight after top fight. And this is even, while having just horrific car accidents in between.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It reminds me of when Cam Newton broke his back and was playing against playing the next week.
And then he made it to the playoffs. Yeah,
but Errol Spence, he's going after Keith Thurman. I believe they're fighting at 154. I mean, to me, it kind of feels like he's maybe left Bud Crawford behind. He kind of doesn't need him.
He doesn't.
It seemed for a long time like they needed each other, right? They both needed that fight. But Errol Spence said, there's a lot of really talented fighters at welterweight. There's a lot of really talented fighters at junior middleweight. So I don't need Bud if I go and fight these other guys, build up my own name, build up my own resume, and that my legacy will be secure, even without a Bud Crawford fight. Then it seems that's kind of the route that he's taking. But what are your guys' thoughts on the repeat number 1, Errol Spence?
I think somebody needs to email Spence to let him know that he has once again made the Ring Kings top pound for pound list. I mean, this is something. This is an accolade that needs to be high up on his list of accolades, and he somebody should notify him that. I'm sure he's waiting around, like, man.
Like, he should have been backstage waiting to accept this on screen.
Yeah. Bingo. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think, like I said, the gap has widened, and it's because it's his attitude, right? No tune-ups, and he's constantly looking for the best fights. And after this fight with Thurman, he's gonna set up he's gonna try to set up another big fight. Like, he's looking to beat the best. He's looking to acquire belts. And that's why he remains at the top, man, undefeated. Like, I mean, there's not much more we could say than what we said last time. He continues to move forward, man, and until he gets beat or he starts doing some Bud Crawford type stuff, right? He's going to remain number one.
Parents, Mike, any thoughts?
Deservedly so, justifiable, damn right. The first car accident, let's bring that up. They're like, "Oh, what did you hurt? What did you hurt, Errol?" "Oh, I just hurt my teeth." Right. I'm like, "What? Just your teeth?" "Yeah, just my teeth. My teeth like got hit. I'm good." 2 months later, he's fighting Yordenis Ugas. Like,
and what? breaking his face.
I'm like, he's not a human being. All right. As a man who has been hit by a car, I respect you. Good for you, man. But I've been watching his fights. He has great power. He can get nasty when he wants to get nasty, and he can make you look silly if he wants to make you look silly. Like against Sean Porter, he had to get nasty to take Sean Porter out. Against Danny Garcia, he made Danny Garcia look silly. So 2 ways of winning. Showed his full variety. He fought Mikey Garcia, and I was like, "Oh, Mikey Garcia." He realized he had the size advantage of Mikey Garcia, so he kind of just pounded him, like using his strength and speed. Because sometimes when you move up a weight, your power may not translate, and it didn't translate to Errol Spence before against Mikey Garcia. Because Errol Spence made sure of it. I think he's gonna beat Keith Thurman personally, and I just love watching him box. I just really do. Like, it's we call it the sweet science. He has a lot of tools in his belt. He can take you into deep waters and choke you out. He can outbox you. He can rip you to the body. That's how he took out Sean Porter. He realized Sean Porter was headhunting, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna barbecue your ribs real quick." And he kept hitting him in the ribs, and the first time he dropped Sean Porter, I think in the 10th or the 11th, was a rib shot. He hit him in the rib shot, and then he hit it, and then he came up high and hit him in the head. Then he dropped. So it was a rib shot, then a head shot. And there's a bunch of people at junior middleweight he could fight. He could fight his stablemate if he wants to. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but he can fight Jamel Charlo.
Yeah.
He can fight Brian Castano. He's fighting Keith Thurman. Kind of Keith Thurman's probably his introduction. Like, can I carry this weight? Can my power translate at 154? And then if I can take Keith Thurman out at this weight, I can try to fight proper 154s. And then we'll see more. He doesn't need Bud. Bud needs him. And he's realized that. He's like, I don't need the guy. Because Errol Spence has a group of people, like, because these are what boxers think of him, who like now like say, you don't need that fight because he's sissy-footing around. Just like roaming around in a random corner, and you're fighting people. You're not saying, "Hey, let me fight David Avanazian first." Like, no, he's like, "Let me fight Yordenis Ugas first, the guy who beat Manny Pacquiao. Give me your belt. People think you have a proper belt. I'm gonna take it from you. Now give it to me." And he took it. Ugas didn't. But here's the thing about Ugas. Ugas didn't just give it to him either. He took it from Ugas, and Ugas was like, "Oh, you can have it, man." And he took him out. And I'm a big man. I love me some Errol Spence. He's cool, phenomenal boxer. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, look, man, it's a reason we call him the big fish, right? He is, as I said about Tank, one of the, if not the most complete boxer in the game. I respect the hell out of him. As you all said about not taking tune-ups. I mean, this man flipped a car, had his eye hanging out of socket.
Also the eye, yeah.
And then, you know, got into another accident recently, and he refuses to take tune-ups. And this is a day and age where you don't see that much. Dominant, checks all the boxes. He, you know, I know what a lot of people's going to say, because I've seen it already. Oh, he's moving to one. He's fighting Thurman at 154. Oh, he's ducking Crawford, and he's made this clear, right? He's made this clear a long time now that he's not going to be at 147 long, because it's just harder for him to continue to make that weight. He's made that clear for a long time now, and I think that is the start of him leaving Crawford behind. Now there's a chance. There's talks of Crawford moving up to 154. We'll see if we can make it happen then. But I personally, as a fan of the game and someone who really wanted to see the fight, I'm over it myself. You're flirted. I think it's lost the luster that it had, or the steam that it had going into making it happen. You know, when we had a chance to see it. So we'll see. But Errol is number one on my list. Errol's that dude. I would like to see a more active Errol this year. So hopefully we'll see, you know, this Thurman thing get down, and then we'll see him fight again. Another solid big fight going forward. So the big fish is number one, and he deserves to be.
Stay away from cars, though. Stay away.
Ride horses.
Yes.
All right, so that is the list. That's our update. That's our second pound for pound top 10 here on Ring Kings podcast. You know, there's a few big fights coming up. You know, obviously there's Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. You know, Canelo's fighting in early May. I'm not sure who else is coming up very soon, but we'll have another one. You know, probably 3 to 4 months after there's been a few bigger fights, and we'll come back and revisit the list and see if there's going to be any changes moving forward.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to thank our guest, our panel here, Ferris. Well, I mean, look, I said guest. I mean guest, single, because Mikey is 1/3 of the podcast. But thank you, Ferris, for coming through. Thanks
Thank
to
you for
Shiv
having me. I
all.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks to Shiv for also contributing to this list. And you know, anybody that's part of the LBHT crew, like anybody that's a patron, you know, they are also welcome to cast their votes in as well. So if you want to affect the rankings, so to speak, you can do that by signing up to patreon.com/LBHTShow. Okay, that's the Patreon for this show and the Lunch Break Hot Take show, which you should also be subscribed to as well. And for as little as $3 a month, you get all kinds of perks. Just break down just real quick what those perks are.
Yeah, so the $3 tier is basically a general support tier. The $10 tier will get you our custom poker deck featuring our top 25 fighters of all time. And if I can find my mouse, I can get the picture up here. There we go. And then there you go. So it's a very high quality deck featuring, like I said, our top 25 fighters. We did a 5-part series on that, which, you know, was a lot of fun. It was a very long conversation, but a great conversation. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go back and give that a watch. Then we have a $20 tier, which is a combined tier for this show, as well as our other podcast that Jose mentioned, the Lunch Break Hot Take. You'll get the poker deck. You'll get our LBHT crew coin. You'll get entrance into our fantasy football leagues if you're interested in that. And every tier will get you into our overtime show that we do for patrons every Wednesday after our live show on the Lunch Break Hot Take. And then all the tiers as well will get you into our Discord server.
I felt like Vanna White. Call me Vince Brown.
And I forgot to mention, we also have Caleb Plant and David Benavidez coming up. And there was another fight here that I just looked at. And
Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul on the 26th.
Definitely wasn't that one. Shakur Stevenson coming up in early April.
Hey, there's kind of fun on that card though. It's Babadou Jack versus Ilangi Mbako.
Who is Babadou Jack?
You mean Badu Jack?
Badu Jack, sorry. I said Babadou. Sorry. Versus Makabu.
All right. On that note, we are out of here. All right. We did okay this time. I think it was a little bit shorter than the last.
We did not. We did horribly. This is an hour and 40 minutes.
I think the last one was like 2 hours though.
That doesn't make this good.
I just want to say I'm disappointed in you guys that you did not. No one had Jake Paul on their list. He should have made someone's pound for pound list.
I'm glad that no one had knocked out CP Freshman.
Hey, listen. If he can pull off if this guy can pull off the upset, he will be on the pound for pound list next time. And that's Ryan Garcia. As much as we make fun of him, even though he's a friend of the show, we make fun of him. We talk about him. If he pulls off the upset against Tank Davis, I have a feeling he will be on this list next time we bring it up. So there are some fighters that I gotta respect it. It'll be hard, but look, I gotta respect him for taking the fight. I respect Inoue for moving up and saying, "Hey, look, I want that fight with cool boy Steph." And same thing with Stephen Fulton, saying, "Hey, give me a monster." Right? Those are two guys that can change their position in terms of pound for pound rankings. And look, man, like look, there's just a few fighters out here that they're going for it, and the next time we come here, this list can look a little different. Or it could look a lot different, or it could look the same. But there's some big fights that seem to be in the works, and I'm happy with the list. I wish I could. I wish, of course, Stevenson would have been on there, but
yeah, I was gonna say
it's tough to get on
higher on your list, then.
I guess, or change the point system so certain people can, Anyway, man, thank y'all for watching. Thank you, Ferris, for contributing. Thank you, Shug, who's behind the scenes, also contributing. This is always fun. Again, don't get emotional about this list, man. This is for fun. It's for entertainment. If you have your own list, feel free to share it with us. Okay, we love we love having a conversation. In fact, sign up to our Discord so we can keep that conversation going. We have a Ring Kings channel in our Discord just for that. And shout out to Rock, who loves to use that Discord, use that channel in the Discord. So yeah, that's it. B, are you ready to get us out of here?
And rambles.
I'm ready.
Incoherent.
Yeah. B is ready. Y'all be safe. Have a great weekend. Have a great week, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Is there